GB News host says Labour leader's former role as Director of Public Prosecutions opens him up to questions. Nigel Farage has doubled down on demands for Sir Keir Starmer to explain his actions as Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, throughout the Post Office scandal. The GB News presenter took to X, formerly known as Twitter, demanding to know why the Labour leader did not intervene in the Horizon scandal when he headed up the Crown Prosecution Service, CPS, as DP. Sir Keir served as DPP from 2008 to 13, during some of the Horizon scandal's pivotal years. Mr. Farage argued that the Labour leader has serious questions to answer, given the story first broke in 2009 and prosecutions continued until 2015. Defenders of the leader of the opposition were quick to argue that the sub-postmasters were prosecuted by the Royal Mail in private criminal prosecutions, rather than by the CPS. However, Mr. Farage doubled down on his demand for answers, countering that as DPP Sir Keir had the right to intervene in any prosecution. Private prosecution specialists Edmonds Marshall McMahon, M., explained that the CPS has the right to take over any private prosecution, under Section 6(2) of the Prosecution of Offences Act, and either continue with the prosecution or discontinue it. M continued that the CPS would only be likely to discontinue a case when there is not sufficient evidence to provide a realistic prospect of conviction, or if the CPS deemed it not to be in the public interest. Barrister Rupert Myers argued that Mr. Farage makes a legitimate point. Mr. Myers said it's not as straightforward as saying the sub-postmasters were taken to court in private prosecutions. He argued the CPS does have the power to take over or end private prosecutions, including those that are vexatious or malicious. Mr. Myers also said Sir Keir and the CPS should come forward and explain what interest they took in the scandal, and whether they conducted any reviews of the Post Office's actions. The Post Office website also indicates the CPS did play a role in the scandal. In a frequently asked questions about the scandal section of its website, the Post Office said there were 6 appeals in which the CPS was the respondent rather than the Post Office. One of the 6 was conceded, and the conviction overturned, with 5 opposed. One example of CPS involvement, highlighted by Mr. Myers, included the case of Seema Misra, who was prosecuted on behalf of the Post Office by the CPS while Sir Keir was Director of Public Prosecutions. Reflecting on the moment she was sentenced to 15 months in prison, Ms. Misra said, "It's hard to say, but I think that if I had not been pregnant, I would have killed myself." Mr. Myers concluded that, not only was Keir Starmer's CPS aware of the Post Office prosecutions, it helped send a pregnant woman to jail. In 2022, a Freedom of Information request was submitted to the CPS requesting the total cost incurred to them by Ms. Misra's trial. The CPS said it does not hold any information as outlined in your request. The case papers have been destroyed in line with our file retention policy.